Hey, hi, thanks for coming by Tori Magoo 44. This is, I'm trying to make a video with Mark Tordai. He's a friend of mine from, and pardon me if I said your last name wrong. Anyway, he's a friend of mine from Facebook, and he, Drew, aka Casper, Smurf, Gary, and I all did a flash picket over at the HGB, which is the Hollywood Guarantee Building, which is actually where the executives who supposedly run Scientology are. We still wonder what are they running because there's hardly anybody in any of the buildings. But this is a combination of a little video, a couple of interviews with Mark, and then there's also an interview with someone that walked by and what they had to say. And I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. It was a beautiful day today here in Los Angeles. And I love you all. Peace out.
Some people who might be watching this, who are subscribed to Gary's channel, probably have seen me about 8 or so months ago back in September. We did a walk around Hubbard Way, and before that it was like my first trip out here for 2 years and so forth. So probably have seen me before if you have.
What orgs did you work in?
Well, I worked for 12 months, and I worked in the Church of Scientology in Berlin, which is still the Ideal org, and then I also worked for the Ideal org in San Francisco, and that was for about 10 weeks, and I was about 9 months in Berlin, and that was literally just like they opened about November of 2006, officially opened in January, and then in May 2007, I became a staff member over there.
So why did you leave so early?
Well, yeah, I did a lot in 3 years, and I worked a hell of a lot in that 1 year that I was on staff. I worked like basically a Sea Org type schedule. They came up with this new schedule called full time, and I worked between 90 and about 115 hours every week as a staff member, not as a Sea Org member. So that means I had to pay rent for my place, and I had to pay for my food, and that became very difficult to do.
And what's the motivation to do full time?
Because you get paid double.
Oh.
And what were you paid on a regular basis?
Anywhere from 11 euros a week to 86 euros a week.
And
so
how do you afford housing on that?
you have to spend your savings because you're not getting anything more. So I had some savings before, and I basically exhausted it within the first few months, and then I would have to dip into more savings and stuff. It was really difficult.
Really
and
bad.
I also had staff members and Sea Org members. A couple months they had to pay my rent, so then I had to owe them money.
So did you blow from the Berlin org? No.
No.
Why did they let you go?
Well, they really didn't let me go. That was part of it. When I arrived there, I didn't have a visa, and so I worked for about 4 months without a visa, no working permits, nothing. And then I got what's called a temporary residence permit, which only allowed me to live there for a year without working. But the way Scientology is set up in Germany is kind of an anomaly because they don't really know how to deal with Scientology. So it was one of those things where am I a volunteer or am I actually working? And so in the end I was basically a volunteer. And then I pressed them for months and months to transfer me to another org here in the US where I could get what's called an R1 religious workers visa. And then when I worked in San Francisco, was the visa that I had. So I got the actual proper visa to go work there, but only about 2-3 months later I decided to leave Scientology while on staff there in San Francisco.
And have you been harassed at all by Scientology?
A lot of phone calls. I haven't had anybody come to my door, but within the first year or year and a half of leaving, yeah, I had a lot of phone calls. And I had phone calls from all over the world. I had phone calls from England, of all places, and Florida.
To Canada?
Canada.
Wow.
All over. And then what happened is how I got them to stop was I went to the local police department and filed a complaint of harassment, and a police officer went and phoned all the numbers that was in my cell phone and basically said, if you don't stop, we're gonna contact the local police department wherever it was, Clearwater, Los Angeles, San Francisco, East Grinstead, and we're gonna tell London, we're gonna tell them, we're gonna file a complaint. And so then it eventually stopped, and I haven't heard anything since.
What police department was this?
This is my local police department. I don't feel like saying the name of the community that I live in, but it's in the Toronto area.
For us in California to deal with law enforcement that are very favorable with Scientology, takes their money with the smiles on their faces. It's very weird that a law enforcement agency would actually do that to help somebody. So your community is a lot different than at Los Angeles.
Burbank's different than LA. Yeah. Anyway, I have a question to ask you. Sure. You told me earlier about the difference in 5 years ago and now. Could you tell me that?
Of course. 5 years ago, I joined 9 years ago in this building.
Right.
Okay. I did a tour, and I was just graduated from college. Just a little preface, and I'm in entertainment, and so I was kind of going through, like, because I just graduated college and I didn't have a job, so I went in this building, and like it opened my eyes, and I became a Scientologist. So I have been through this building that time, which was in May of 2005, and then I went again at the end of December of 2006. Both of those times, this building was very busy. There were lots of people on the street, people getting body
which you can see, there's and nobody.
The test center is down by Wilcox, which is another street not far from here.
Right.
And Wilcox, they were somewhat busy, but this place was pretty busy. And then, of course, on the trips that I did take here, when I was a Scientologist, which were two trips, also, L. Ron Hubbard Way was very busy. Now, it seems to be a bit more quiet.
Right.
I did, however, leave the Church of Scientology also here in May of 2008. I wasn't on vacation. I was in San Francisco, and then I came down here to actually report my situation in Berlin, and then was told nobody gave a shit. So that's when I decided to leave.
Good.
And then I left from there. From here, I should say. But, you know, I did travel again, and I did come here, and it was pretty busy even back then. So, like, I've been out since that time, since the spring of 2008, and it seems to be, since that time, it was somewhat dead back then. It's even more now.
Way more. And tell the thing about the pencils in finance. You were in finance, right?
I was in Div 3, which, as you guys might know, for the org board is Treasury.
Right.
And I was the head in Berlin of Department 9, which is Records, Assets, and Material, called RAM. That last one is material, and it is the absolute most disorganized, bureaucratic, like, organization, if you want to call it that, because it would be very painful even to get pens. I mean, we had a stationery store across the street from Berlin, and just to go over there to get enough money to buy a pack of like 20 pens was insane, and that would be like €5, because you have to expense it, and then you have to prove, like, why. What's the reason for getting this pack of
pencils?
Pens? And the only people who could do it were the auditors.
And tell about the here today, the ladder.
Well, yeah. So there's this ladder around the corner. They're doing some work around here. Of course, they've all disappeared.
We'll take a
now.
picture of it.
But you know how ladders, of course, have those dividers that spread. You know, they're like legs almost, and they keep the everything sort of together. And they're being held on right now by ropes.
And it's a two-story ladder, right?
It's a 16-foot ladder. As another person has checked it out, and the retail price on those are between about $200 and $300, and that's exactly why there's rope on there, because $200 and $300 is a heck of a lot of money for these people. Well, not really, but
not
you know what I'm saying, expensing something. So for $200 to $300, they've come up with a way to make it go right, which is to put the rope over, and so that way it won't fall down.
And if a staff member falls off the ladder,
well, it's their fault.
It's their fault.
Scary, huh?
Yeah,
it
because
really is.
they're PTS, right?
Yeah.
The ladder
doesn't matter that the ladder's all hooked out.
And there wasn't anybody spotting either.
No.
If
right.
you went across, there's nobody spotting anybody.
Amazing.
I know.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
So now what did you just tell us?
I said that Scientology is it's no good. It's rotten.
And how long have you been around it?
The first time I came in contact with them was in San Francisco, down on Mason and Geary. They have a place there.
Yeah.
And it looks like an induction center.
Right.
And it's like they're not being straight with you right from the beginning.
That's right.
You don't know what you're walking into. Then they want $1 for the Cokes and the coffee. And it's one of these kind of things where it's for the rich trying to buy your way into heaven.
Well, they don't believe in heaven, but it's freedom, they say. But you can see they're hiding all inside now because we're outside here. So they're not too free, are they?
And then there was some girl that led me to believe that if I joined up, that she'd go to bed with me.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's happened a bunch of times.
Wow.
And so I went to a meeting, and it was a guy asking too many questions, and he shut it when I talked to him. And
I was in it 30 years. I escaped out. They chased me across the country.
Yeah, you ever listen to Coast to Coast?
Yeah.
Okay, they had a woman who went to Scientology boarding school, and it made the Catholics look like Lutherans.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like really bad.
Yeah.
And
what do you do here now?
I'm a street musician, play guitar.
Oh, cool.
Out in front of Jimmy Kimmel's.
Oh, cool.
But more power to these guys, and they got all kinds of security. They're uptight.
Are they up there usually?
I've seen them around here, and they're security guards.
Right.
And they're really
they're super uptight because this is the executives. Even though it's a joke because there's nobody in their building. So what are they running?
I think it's something the Masonics, the Illuminati started.
Scientology?
Oh yeah, when you look, there's a building down near McCaden.
Right.
And on the sign, it's got a pyramid.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So they have Illuminati symbols.
Yeah, true.
And
and Hubbard started with black magic in the 50s.
Hubbard studied under Aleister Crowley.
Right, and Jack Parsons.
Yeah.
And they're into black magic and voodoo, who knows whatever else.
Yeah.
So good luck that you guys are doing this,
Thank you.
That you got the nerve to come out here and tell these guys to go, where to go.
Well, that's why they're hiding inside, because they know I did, it's like a triangle, and I was already up at the top. You know what I mean? So they know I know what I'm talking about.
Well, I think also I've heard stories that people that have tried to quit disappeared, like the Jehovah's. It's all the same thing.
They cut everybody off.
It's like they teach people how to be followers instead of leaders.
Exactly. That's right. He was on staff, and they got him out. He got out by himself too. Good for you.
Yeah. Scientologists can go to hell.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you so much, man.
Okay,
good luck to you.
Have a good day, sir.
All right, ciao.